Yes, you're welcome back. It's still the Daybreak Show, Rock City 101.9 FM, the voice of the people. It's time for Citizens Forum. I am Tobi Joseph.
And I am Aghemerio. Good morning.
Good morning. This morning we'll be going straight into looking at why exactly it has been difficult for us to fight this monster, this behemoth called corruption in Nigeria. Apart from looking at how we're supposed to fight it, we want to see how endemic, how entrenched it has become, eating into every fabric of our society and of our national life, especially as it affects ministries, departments, and agencies of government from top to bottom. One damning report was released last week, and that actually came from the National Bureau of Statistics in collaboration with the United Nations Office on Drugs and Crime, UNODC, and of course the European Union, EU, which of course stirred the honest nest and created some kind of reaction, especially from the judiciary and the Nigerian police. Uh, you would recall that the MBS actually talked about the very little respect the Nigerians have for the Nigerian police force. Not that, and also the little respect that the judiciary should command, but unfortunately have coming from the Nigerian people. The report stipulates that or indicates that 400 billion naira estimated though as equivalent to about $4.6 billion in purchasing power, representing 39% of combined federal and state education budgets in 2016, was paid out as bribes to public officials in Nigeria annually. The National Corruption Reports also covered between June 2015 and May 2016, showing that almost a third of Nigerian adults, that's 32.3% of Nigerian population, who had contact with public officials between June 2015 and May 2016 had to pay or were requested to pay a bribe to such public officials. And if you look at the long list of these agencies, of these government parastatals that were most culpable, you find the judiciary, you find the police, and so many other agencies, customs, you have so many of them on that list. So many times you hear that bail is free. Even when you get to the counter of a police office, you still hear that bail is free. But I'm sure that the lawyer in the studio will disagree with you, and that bail is indeed free. Sometimes you only watch it on TV through adverts or PR stunts made by the Nigerian police. That bail is free. Bail is free, but working out will not be free. And that is something a friend told me recently, Aghemerio, that bail may be free, truly, but working out of that cell may not be
May not
free.
be free. All right, when we talk about corruption in Nigeria, it's become a kind of a second name.
Mhm.
Because when you say Nigeria, what really comes to the mind of someone out there is corruption.
Mhm.
And even we that we are Nigerians, we have come to see that to be possibly a second name. All right, even children have come to see that as a second name.
As commonplace, as normal.
It's just a thing that we have been, like a water that we all have been swimming in, and we keep wondering, when are we going to swim out of this water? We keep getting into the depth of it, and it seems that it's going to last forever.
Yes.
But is it in any way close by the end of it? Is it in any way close by? Can we even see it, or we just keep imagining that we will someday somehow wriggle out
Mhm.
of this? And how are we even wriggling out of it? What efforts are we making to get out of this? This government or this administration has been talking about the fight
Fighting
against
corruption.
corruption. And Nigerians are still wondering, is this a war
That can be won.
that can ever be
Mm.
won?
Well, I tell you, even if you want to, you know, look at corruption on a gargantuan scale, looking at billions of dollars, billions of naira being recovered, forfeited to the federal government. One thing you cannot wish away is the fact that bribery is one form of corruption that has actually, eaten deep into every, even in state government offices, the messenger expects you to tip.
Don't even talk about the state government.
Yes.
You know what? I was telling someone recently. I said, I'm just tired of this. Our private schools. You get in there, you pay your child's school fees. Teacher's still expecting you to tip her or tip him.
Before she does her job.
So what's the meaning of all that?
So it's becoming a culture, a very sad one.
Now, when we talk about corruption, everyone thinks about the government. But can we just bring it down home a bit? It's happening in our homes. It's happening even in our private places.
Yes.
It's everywhere on the street.
I tell you. And this is what this report coming from the NBS in collaboration with the European Union and the UNODC is actually bringing to bear. Of course, one arm of government that has reacted sharply to this in strong terms is the judiciary, which has rejected the narrative that the bar and the bench have contributed so much to our corruption narrative, and so they are rejecting that report. Well, if you ask an average Nigerian which agency is the most corrupt or which arm of government is the most corrupt, if you look at the three arms of government or the three tiers of government, federal, state, and local government, or say which agency of government is corrupt, you'll hear different answers from different people. But that is for us to actually look into. How can we tackle this? What exactly are the issues? What are we not doing right? What are we doing wrong? Why have we so much continue to give ourselves this kind of name and, of course, reputation in the Committee of Nations? We have someone who is very qualified to look at this in the studio, a lawyer, a legal practitioner, and, of course, the former chairman of the Nigerian Bar Association Abeokuta branch in the studio. I'm talking of a lawyer, Patrick Iwu. You're welcome once again to the Daybreak Show, lawyer.
Thank you very much, and good morning, listeners.
Thank you for joining us. It's becoming a recurring decima. Like it's one step forward, 10 steps backward in the fight against corruption. Are we really addressing the fundamental issues?
I don't think so. In the sense that, you see, this issue, we expect the government to fight corruption. That is the problem. Whereas we, the individuals, are the ones generating these corruptions on ourselves. Now, if as we were talking during the last election, people are saying change, that things are still the way they are, and that the president, Mr. Muhammadu Buhari, is not doing enough. And I say this: if the man is to put all corrupt Nigerians into jail, 99.9 of us will be there, and that's the truth. The truth is this issue of corruption is so endemic from the top down to the bottom. I want to give you an instance. Now, you as an individual or a retired civil servant, your pension, your life savings, you open up a post-pension business. Okay, let me just open up a shop to sell groceries or beverages or whatever. Now you employ a young boy or a young lady there to manage. Now, rather than managing this one shop, let it grow into a supermarket so that you become a supermarket manager. The young man or lady will see that as an opportunity to get share of his own national cake. The business will go down. Now, from there to the top. Well, the top is something every one of us, so it needs no emphasis. That's a problem.
Now, how can we begin to tackle this?
I'm sorry about that. The fact is, before we can start talking about solutions, I think there's a need for us to quickly look at the root causes.
Yes.
Not until we know how we got here, we will not be able to tell how we can get out of this.
Yes.
What do you think are the root causes? We've been having to hear all sorts. What do you think are the root causes?
I think the root causes is in our own system. I want to start like this. If you remember, let us go back to memory lane. In 1966, when the army took over, the reason they gave for their intervention was that the politicians then were collecting bribes. 10%. 10%. 1966. Now, ask yourself, the politicians of today, are they collecting 10%? They are collecting over 200%. What I'm saying is that all over the years, the thing has gone from bad to worse. So who do you blame, if not ourselves? So in other words, the thing is endemic. It's now part of us. Now, because of this issue of quota system, issue of employing people who are not qualified for a particular position. Now, an average Nigerian, most offices are not occupied by people who are competent there. Now they are not qualified to be there. What happens? Now I want to be there. I'm not qualified. So what do? I offer bribe. Now remember that the problem with bribery is that both the giver and the taker are liable. So who are those ones giving the bribes? We most times we concentrate on the takers, but forgetting the fact that we who are giving, we are even more guilty than those who are taking. Because if we don't give, nobody will take. Now, let's divert a little to the issue of police bail. I tell you, bail is still free in this country. But what happens? I go and commit, and I know very well that I have committed. My people know very well that I have committed. I'm arrested by police. What happens? Well, you see, what do we do? Police, huh? Which one? Police. In the first place, I want to say this. Now, go to Aghemerio Road there, which is police headquarters. The government provides for stationaries. Okay? But what happens? I have witnessed a situation where the policeman there is buying stationaries, bail bond. Bail bond. I've witnessed it at Aghemerio Road there. So what happens? And this is with his own money. Now, you want to get yourself out. So does he have to use his own money to finance the stationery?
Sometimes
beautiful. So that's the problem, and nobody is talking about it. The policeman cannot talk. If he talks, he's sent down to Maiduguri to go and start fighting Boko Haram with bare hands. So everybody keeps quiet. Now, me that has committed crime, well, the moment I pay, I get out. So why should I complain? But the irony of it all is, I will come out and I will be the first person to complain about corruption.
Now, do Nigerians actually think that they're corrupt? Because when we talk about corruption, we immediately think about the government.
You see, the thing is, as I'm speaking about corruption now, every other person is corrupt except me. That's the way we Nigerians look at it. The average Nigerian himself does not see himself as being corrupt or a contributing factor to corruption. When you talk about corruption, you appear innocent, you look innocent. It's the other man, just like it's the other man that is corrupt, not you. That's the problem. But in actual reality, one way or the other, we are all involved in this mess.
All right, so if you're thinking about being involved in this mess and we still do not see ourselves to be fully involved, how then do we think we can actually fight this to start?
Yes, we have to start with ourselves. Now, if I, as Patrick Iwu says, come, I'm not going to pay one dime to police as bribe. Police cannot kill me. At most, you keep me there. But the time police realizes that, come, Patrick will not pay. He will not. They will do the proper thing. That is number one. And number two, you see, we have institutional failure in this part of the world. We have institutional failure. Now, you go to the DPO at the divisional level. Something is done. You go to an area command to report. Rather than area command solving that problem, they compound. Now, you write a petition to area command or to Aghemerio. The commissioner of police assigns it to IPO. IPO will now ask you to bring money for the purposes of transferring the file or whatever from the division or the area command level to Aghemerio. And this is something that can be done by signal. So that's a problem.
Now, Tobi, I'm so sorry.
Yeah, go ahead.
Can we break this down a bit? Because we keep talking about corruption and that word seems so long and big. And I think that was the problem we had to, when the former president was there, talking about former President Jonathan, when he talked about corruption and mayor stealing and all that. Okay, because if we say corruption, say, hey, government, a politician taking out our money, going into a treasury and bringing out the whole money and funds and all that. Now, let's break it down a bit. Corruption in itself, what does it mean to an average Nigerian?
To an average Nigerian, corruption simply means, abuse of office, using your office for monetary. That's what, That's the way our own understanding of what corruption means, and that's why the former president, in all his wisdom, will tell you that stealing is not corruption. But then corruption is all embracing. Now, if I'm a government official and I'm not at my duty post when I'm supposed to be there, it's corruption. Because by not being there,
So it's not just about money.
it's not just about money. It goes beyond money. It goes beyond money. By not being there, it might cause a lot of chain of reactions. Now, assuming the man who is supposed to be at the railway, something is not there, what happens? That's a problem. But we only see corruption in terms of, well, naira and kobo, and maybe in these days dollar and pounds. But corruption goes beyond that.
All right, now the proponents of opinion before now is that Nigerian police is the most corrupt agency of government. Unfortunately, the judiciary is now dragging that corruption crown with the Nigerian police. When did we get so low? When the bench and the bar are now, which is supposed to be the last hope of the common masses, is now becoming a terror.
I will want to start by saying this. I personally do not believe in that report of the the Bureau of whatever. Of course, they have to come and tell Nigerians, how did you arrive at this? Now, the case of Nigerian, the Nigerian police is so different. Now, you see, the case of police is just like every other animal eating dead, but then it's the pig. You see it on the body. Every Nigerian, everybody walking on the public road knows police collect Rogers, and they are not hiding it. Then, judiciary, has it gotten to that level? If it has gotten to that level, I will pack my bag, go to my village and start farming. Okay? Yes, I know the system itself has its own fair share of corruption, but I want to stick out my neck to it. In fact, as a stakeholder, it hasn't gotten to that stage.
It hasn't got.
It hasn't.
There is corruption.
Pardon?
But you agree that there is corruption.
Of course. Every institution in Nigeria has its own fair share of this question of corruption.
But now that takes us back to how endemic this has been and how it will be difficult for us to fight it to a standstill. Because if the arm of government is supposed to actually help in fighting corruption, in fighting criminality, in fighting illegality, is now corrupt itself, are we not doomed as a people and as a nation?
We are assuming that report is correct.
Yes.
But like I said, I have my own reservations about that. Yes, we have. You see, the judiciary as an institution has its own problem. Okay. Now let us start with this issue of autonomy. Now, the judiciary hasn't got that autonomy, and when they don't have that autonomy, it hampers their activities. I don't belong to the bench. I can't speak for them. But as a practitioner, all my working life, I've been in this state, I've been in the judiciary, I know what happens there. They have their own fair share. They have their challenges. But this issue of corruption, yes, 1 or 2. Yes, I repeat, yes, 1 or 2. But then you cannot say because 1 or 2, and then you now label the whole men and women there working day and night, that all of them are corrupt. And then, worse still, comparing them, that they are worse. It's even bad comparing them with police. And now, saying they have overtaken the police, no, it's very absurd.
But does it bother you that in all this, we are not winning? Because you find out that the agencies, let's take for instance the Nigerian Customs Service, which is supposed to fight smuggling, and of course also smuggling of narcotics, both in and out, and of course contrabands, are deeply interested in it. The security agencies who are supposed to also check these things are not doing so. Illegal immigrants also get through our porous borders. The immigration is also not doing their job, or they get bribed to allow some people get in. So you see this increase in crime through illegal migrants. You leave that, you come through the judiciary, you find people buying judgment, and you see kidnappers, drug dealers, drug barons walking home free. So when you look at all these different sectors and different areas, would you say that we have the right or the moral right to call a public official, a political office holder, corrupt when he's not found guilty?
Of course we do. We can. And we will continue to. Now, let me just start. You see, the thing is, the mistake the Buhari administration made from inception is that it did not come up with a maybe roadmap fighting this issue of corruption. And I think maybe because of what people will say. Otherwise, we ought to establish something like a special tribunal. Now, if you are accused of corruption, you face that. The issue is, did you take this money? Now, if yes, the onus is now on you to prove that you are innocent. But because of our own system here, you take this money, you go there where you are, the state will prove. And somewhere along the line, there's difficulty in proving these things. And another factor is that I wouldn't know. In this part of the world, you see, the agencies fighting corruption, the EFCC, the Independent Corrupt Practices, whatever, blah blah blah, name it, answers. You know, they still adopt the police system. And what is this police style? Now, you bring a complaint against somebody, they don't investigate. The first thing they do is they go and arrest. When they arrest you, they put you there. When they put you there, they now start fishing for evidence too. Now, in the process, somewhere along the line, they're able to get one or two things. They're smart, they take you to the court. And when you get to the court, the thing won't fly. The guy comes home. Then the people on the street start to complain. Now, and why is that so? Because most of those people, the government officials or whatever, these agencies are being manned by unqualified professionals. Yes, because, okay, Meduguri, they don't have a so and so number of quota this in the EFCC or whatever, you've got to put them there. And when you put them there, what happens? Is the result we're having. It's not even restricted to EFCC or even to AMCON, even to all these other agencies. Now, for custom, you and I will agree with me that of late, they are setting up. And kudos to the Baba there, the lieutenant God there. I mean, who is himself another Buhari-like figure. But when the man was appointed, everybody was, wow, why should you bring a blah, 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 blah. At a time last year, I don't know if the Bureau of Statistics is aware of that. The custom was even earning more money for the Federal Republic of Nigeria than oil. Yes. Now, you agree with me to that extent, the issue of corruption within the custom, the way we used to know it, has subsided. Custom men and women, day and night now sacrificing themselves. We hear the reports of them being killed on duty. I wouldn't think somebody who collects bribe will get killed on duty. But these days, we see them pursuing all these smugglers down into the city. Even it is the society itself that are crying. Oh, custom, oh, why should custom, because it's your child that is involved in that illegal act. Nobody looks at the illegality now. It's a custom. Why should custom chase them? Why wouldn't custom chase them down to their mother's house? If they feel they have committed, why should they be running away? So that's the problem.
All right, if you just joined us, what we're looking at this morning is the recent reports coming from the National Bureau of Statistics in conjunction with UNODC, United Nations Office on Drugs and Crimes, and of course the European Union. We're looking at this Corruption Perception Index of Nigeria, and of course looking at major agencies of government, the judiciary, the police, and so many other agencies. We have in the studio
even the teachers.
Patrick Iwu. What?
I said even teachers were mentioned.
In fact, even the case of the teachers, I think private schools you mentioned is getting worse.
Oh my God!
It's getting worse. Apart from the teachers expecting you to, now private schools these days they do graduation from what do they call it?
From nursery school.
No, not even nursery. Playgroup.
From playgroup.
You graduate from playgroup to kindergarten or whatever. I hope I'm not turning it upside down. Yeah. You also graduate from there now into nursery. You also now do graduation from nursery now into primary. All these things you pay graduation fees. This is a corruption. That's just the truth. This is a corruption.
Okay, so it's a serious issue we're discussing this morning. I'm sure you want to be part of the discussion. You can call and you can send messages. You can also tweet. Our Twitter handle remains at Rock City FM. Our Facebook fan page is Rock City FM. 101.9. You can start sending your messages to 32120. All you have to do is to type rock ROCK, leave a space, type your message, include your name, and send to 32120.
Hello.
Good morning.
Yes, good morning.
Morning, Aghemerio, Tobi, I greet you.
Good morning.
Barrister Patrick, good morning, sir.
Good morning, sir.
I'm Tobi from long having you on this program.
Thank you very much, sir.
Yeah. In fact, I totally concur with everything I've been saying. 99.999. I want to have the remaining 9 points here. We are all corrupt because we are not ready to probably own up to responsibility, to probably meet the board in the head and then talk about things that are unethical that are happening around us, because we fear that people we will be intimidated or to be embarrassed by some people. But if we know where we are coming from, the principle of God holds much more better than how we are looking at it. The principle of God is that we must work on trust, truth, and integrity. And that is the principle where God wants us. We were supposed to be dominating our environment, not man dominating man. Corruption is not about stealing alone. It's about all other unethical activities. And I believe that what you have said is 100%. If Buhari that came in to probably root all these things down, failed in the road, giving us road map, I think I want to agree with you, because the man should have come up without anybody knowing what he was coming for, to put down his feet on special courts. All these things we are talking about, we did the things of the past. You see, I agree, lawyer, that the recent disgrace and fall of many renowned leaders could have ended up in jails now if at most at the inception of this government, though they are trying, but unfortunately they could not do it further, because things that have been stolen or snatched away, they cannot, the people that are investigating, they don't have all the without doubt to probably prove, and that has been on technical grounds here and there. And then I don't know how we can go, except if we go by having that rolling formula. Probably we should introduce capital punishment straight and forward, and then if anybody is caught, let him go for that. Even if it's anybody, let him go for it, so that our nation, the generations to come, will be good for them. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Hello. Hello. Okay, what was that call? Hello, good morning.
Hello?
Yes, good morning.
Good morning, Aghemerio. Good morning, Tobi.
Good morning.
Good morning, lawyer.
Good morning, sir.
Yes, good morning, my brother. Good morning. You've spoken so well this morning. But you forgot to add some things.
Help me,
It's
sir.
not only the judiciary and police. One of the medical practitioners.
Your name, sir. Your name, sir.
Dr. Uncle.
Okay, doctor. Oh,
One of the other professionals, the lecturers in the university. Let us say police only collect 50 naira. When doctors and nurses and paramedics, they don't collect 50 naira. So the police even doing well by not collecting the end. We are letting it back. Police, judiciary. All of us, you know what I've realized?
go ahead, sir.
Most of us, falling into rock city, don't believe in it. It is when they affect another person. They say, change. Touch any of their brothers and sisters. Get them, and you see what's happening. They will go around. Can't you see? They go around and go where you see. So Nigerian guys don't believe in it. They don't believe in the white war against corruption. And we are congenitally corrupt. We're not. Let us be saying that, police. We, civil service, everybody. And the reason is this. Our culture accepts corruption. Be it Yoruba, Hausa, Igbo. You see something and doing something when nothing has happened. Number two, our religion. Religion, the way it is interpreted. One of these funny miracles is not corrupt practices. You actually have to bury pigs so that you can go down there, so that you can have this. That is corrupt, but nobody talks about it. Our religious bodies are silent when it comes to that. But when it affects another people, you see them talking and shaking their body all over the place. What of that? It's a corrupt practice. The way we do things allow sharp. We do things sharp. It's total practice. That is why we never get out of it. I don't see how we can get. And I've always said it's one alone who is fighting. All others are just because when it's favor them, if it doesn't favor them, they say this thing. That is what is happening. So let nobody come and say the police look or the judiciary and all that. We Nigerians, we should. That's why when you go to the American airport, they say you are like this. Yes, because you are corrupt. You are deemed to be corrupt until you are savage. Because they know more than us. They don't tell us like this. I can go more and more. But
All right, thank you.
Sorry. Thank you.
Thank you, doctor.
Hello, good morning.
Yes, good morning.
Yeah, good morning. Tobi, my sister there, and then Lawyer Patrick. Good morning. I live in Oaikhenan.
Good morning, sir.
I think I have to agree to some extent with Dr. Onkom this morning. It is not peculiar to judiciary or the police. It is a common phenomenon in the country. And I'm afraid nobody can completely eradicate corruption in this country. Even within the family, it happens. When you send a child on an errand, they will expect you to give him something. If you don't, next time when you call him, he may not answer you. He may refuse to go. You know, so I just want to think about an impossibility. If you really want to remove corruption, wipe away the entire population and bring new people, either from Tumu or from any other place. Well, as far as I'm concerned, it has become part of our culture. And I don't think anything can. You may be the effort of President Buhari may reduce it. But to say you will eradicate corruption, it's not possible. It's a thing that is very common to everybody. Thank you. Good morning.
Good morning, sir.
Thank you.
Hello. Hello.
Hello. Good morning.
Good morning.
Yes, this is Dio Shikwade calling from Ashero. Yes, let me first of all, appreciate the effort and sincerity of your guest, Barrister Patrick, for his, sincere, and, attitude in giving out, truthfulness on the part of, what he believes, concerning the corruption in the country. Honestly, like what he said, we are talking about the base, institutional base. We don't have, because there is a total collapse of institutional base. When you have a system that is totally collapsed, there is no way, you'll be able to have anything new. Honestly, with what he has said, I believe so strongly in what he has said. Look, even with the present administration, it's like, of this nation, there has always been a corruption. Like what he said, in fact, corruption was, the excuse that the military gave in taking over. And since now, look at, even since the inception of this government, look at what when it came, they are talking about change, and they are giving us the impression that, of course, with all the things that you and all the corruptions that they institutionalize, but then look at today, so many people in government, that who are so corrupt, and nothing is being done to them. That begins at home. When we're talking about corruption, we need to look at our life. We have a life in Nigeria that everybody, now believes that it's a natural. If you don't want to give, they will compel you to give. If you don't want to do it, the system will ask you, you have to give, because that is the system. These are the things that we really need to understand, that we ourselves, we really need to sit down as a nation to believe that, look, we need to really think about how we want to move this nation forward. Because the corruption that we are talking of is embedded in every life, every special life of this nation. And that is, it's not about police or a custom or about judiciary. It's about us. A situation where you have so many people who are there because they are party, we are in the same government, so they cannot be touched. Those who are outside the government, they have to be, running after. How can we sustain in that kind of corruption? That is where we continue to have problems. So it's not about us. It's not about a particular institution. It's about us as people. And until we get those things done, we can never move. We can never achieve anything. What does others, from declaring the asset? Those are the corruptions that we are talking of. that they are being corrupt, and they look the other side, the other way, as if they don't even know that things that is
Okay, thank you.
everywhere. Corruption is everywhere. These are
Okay.
things that we need to change our orientation. When we change our orientation, that is when we'll be able to get things done. And that is the problem we have. It's the pain of our problem. Until we get that done, we can never move anywhere.
All right,
We
thank
continue
you.
to live within the water.
All right, thank you very much. You want to quickly react, Leah?
Yes, I want to, start with the first caller, Mr. Kayode. He said the introduction of capital punishment. You see, the problem we are having really is not even about the punishment. You talk of introduction of capital punishment. If the punishment we have presently is not adequate, the problem is, have we even been punishing? Now, I don't even see introducing capital punishment will not. Now, let us look at a typical politician. Now, convict him of corruption. As far as I'm concerned, sentence him. Even if it's for one day. That one day alone is killing because it has affected his political career. So, the way I look at it is not issue of after all, we are living witness what happened when even with the introduction of capital punishment for robbery, when they were being slaughtered, being executed at Kirikiri, people were even being robbed at the scene of all this execution. So the punishment itself is not. But what I am, if the institutions, when I mean the institutions now, both the police, everybody sit up. This issue of corruption, investigate it before you go to court. Now, Dr. Nkom, yes. Lecturers, doctors, you see, you go to hospital. Well, I wouldn't know. I'm not a medical doctor, but I know that every human being has this appendicitis, okay? You go to a hospital, bang, boom, the doctor now performs operation, removes this, when even it's not what you are suffering from. Just because you must collect money, they said you did up. But this part of the world, when you have operation, wow, it's money. So that itself is a corruption. Now, yes, the problem is, yes, as Dr. Nkom rightly said, we don't even believe we have corruption. And that is even what the other first caller said. Until we accept that as individuals, we are corrupt. And then assess this question, how can I change? Until we get to that stage, no way. Now, Mr. Folakiyemi talked about, agrees with, yes, that yes, it's a common phenomenon, but then I want to add this. There is no society without corruption. Corruption itself is not a Nigerian word. Corruption came from somewhere. Even in UK, the USA, wherever there is corruption. But the problem is, down there, it is minimized. But down here, well, it is at the peak. Down there, they have institutions fighting corruption. Down here, our institutions fighting corruption have been weakened. That is the problem. No society without corruption. Now, the last caller, yes, charity begins at home. Yes, you see, as far as I'm concerned, let APC fight PDP politicians who are corrupt. Then let PDP fight back, gain power. Then let them fight APC politicians who are corrupt. In that way, at least we'll start somewhere.
All right, we'll take a breather here for the national news at 10. After the news, we'll come back and continue our discussion. Lawyer Iwu will still be here in the studio. Stay with us. Yes, it is well.
Indeed, it is well.
It is well with Nigeria. Let's continue to prophesy good tidings, good things onto our great country. But of course, it is beyond words. It takes a great action, commitment, determination, strong will, and a fight to actually win this corruption
And
war.
for as many that have lost hope in our dear country, this is still a land of promise.
I tell you.
Definitely, it is well with the country.
That promise will be fulfilled, whether we like it or not. Whether it is this generation or the coming generation, but we must work now to make sure that it is a reality. And that is one of the things we're looking at this morning on Citizens Forum. The very, very unfortunate and heartbreaking Corruption Perception Index, compiled by the NBS, talking about how corrupt government agencies are and institutions of government, putting the Nigerian police force, the judiciary on the first and second on the list. That is what we're looking at this morning, how it affects us as a people and as a nation, and what we must do to begin to fight it. We have in the studio the former chairman of the Nigerian Bar Association Berkuta branch, NBA, Barrister Patrick Iwu. Iwu, we took some calls earlier, but before we take more calls and contributions, let us begin to itemize what are the solutions, the short-term, mid-term, long-term strategies to begin to win the war against corruption beyond government.
I think we've started winning. Because you see, we've been able to identify that yes, corruption is the bane. I think it's good. Most of us now, we don't shy away from that. You can see even from all the callers, everybody say yes, we are corrupt, we are corrupt, we are corrupt. So it's not a question of pointing accusing figures at even people would never mention specifically. You've had a doctor coming out to say even doctors are corrupt. That's a good signal that there's hope. Yes, accepting that, this is where we are. We are in a mess. I think that is
the first step to solving the problem is accepting that as a problem.
So now we've accepted it, yes, it is as bad as this, there is hope.
Okay, let's go back to the calls. 0809 868 7344 0909 146 9670. The numbers to call. 32120 is a shortcut number. All you have to do is to type rock, leave a space, type your message, include your name, and send to 32120.
All right, now let me ask you this. If we continue this way, 10 years down the line, what should we be expecting?
Disaster. If it continues this way, next 10 years is disaster. The unfortunate thing is we would not even realize the fact that even where we are right now is as a result of corruption. But just that people are saying yes, it's APC, it's Buhari. It's not APC, it's not Buhari. The past administration, PDP rendered a lot of havoc in this country. PDP paid lip service to issue of corruption. Yes, PDP, beginning from Chief Obasanjo, did little lip service to corruption. Chief Obasanjo was one Nigerian leader that was in a position to fight this thing to a standstill. Yes, he did very fine setting up EFCC, but what happened? At the time EFCC have an issue with your girlfriend or with your wife, go to EFCC and report. The next day EFCC will come and pick that person up. At that, and then they lost focus.
All right, if you said that PDP paid lip service to
Yes.
fight of corruption, what then would you say this administration is, doing?
The administration has done something. It has taken it a bit forward. For the first time in the history of this country, the administration is able to retrieve money already eaten, which has never happened. Even when people are saying it's not enough, I agree it's not enough. More needs to be done. But for the first time in the history of this country, the government is able to retrieve money that has been eaten, digested. They are getting, people are refunding.
Okay, let's just pick some calls now. Hello. Hello.
Hello, good morning.
Yes, good morning.
Yeah, this is Aghemerio from Abeokuta.
All right.
Good morning, Barrister.
Good morning, sir.
I have very much enjoyed your contribution this morning. A lot of other people commented. And especially the last one that you made, that it is good that we have all accepted corruption is a big problem to us. But my concern and my question is that, are we ready to change from being? Because if we accept that, yes, corruption is wrong, but we are not yet ready to change from being corrupt. I think we have not, we are still on the same spot. We have really not moved. It's good that we have said that there is a wrong. But how do we get out of it? If we have not acknowledged that, we need to get out of it. Thank you and good morning.
Thank you very, very much.
Hello.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning, Mr. Tobi. Good morning, Aghemerio.
Good morning.
Good morning, our guest in there, Barrister.
Good morning, sir.
Hola, you are only from Barrister, we are happy having you again this morning. You
Thank
are as important as ever. One thing that is going for you is that you are so destabilized. You are an endearing personality. Let me begin. Here you started this morning, sir. You started with no very so crazy. We are now having poor debt in a round hole in place. This is one of the foundation of corruption malaise in our country. You hit it very well this morning, sir. Our job interview these days are mere formality. Let me for that, sir. Otumba Rotimi, Pateja, Agbe, Nigeria will know no peace or don't be nobody can become somebody without knowing anybody. Secondly, sir, on the special tribunal that you offer this morning, the third party is not common with this, sir. I want to believe if the institution of judiciary is here, the conventional court I mean, I hope if this is suggested, there will be noise and cry that it is undemocratic, that normal court should handle the issue of corruption, and people will begin to shout, they are not in the military era. Thank you very much.
Thank you very, very much.
Hello.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Tobi, the gentleman in the house.
Good morning.
How are you people?
We are fine. Good morning, sir.
Honorable Larry Ejati, I'm calling from the People's Parliament in Abeokuta. Yes, I've listened to our guest submission. He has spoken very well, but I still want us to understand that only one single thing that can take us from corruption in Nigeria, because the thing has really eaten into the canker worms of our body, is that we need all this fear, not to have the fear of God. All the organization needs to conduct. If you steal $60 billion, 20 billion naira, that time you die, nobody is going to bury you with $1. So it doesn't work. If you have to pay $1,000, you have to if you don't have that kind of belief that the money I'm going to steal that will be at the detriment of Nigeria, it's not going to be beneficial to me at the end of the day I die. And what is it? So why not just stop? Let us just please our God and continue to do good. But the most important thing is that government must create and create an enabling environment to the youth be able to thrive in their area. Because now, they still haven't suffered a lot, but they have an opportunity to be in good. Next thing we want to do is to steal. I'm not encouraging corruption, but I'm going to be very careful about it. Let me allow other people to talk. God bless you people. God bless Nigeria.
Amen. Hello.
Hello, Aghemerio. Good morning.
Good morning.
Hello, Mr. Tobi.
Good morning.
I'm the Barrister Patrick Iwu. My name is Emeka, aka Big Daddy, calling from Abiola. Good morning, sir.
Good morning, sir.
Yeah, I want you to understand that it takes corruption to fight corruption and take holiness to fight bad attitude. I want you to remember that before someone gets to talk to the EFCC chairman, he could have tried to remove some things on the way the first day to talk. I accepted what the same came here. Before I got me off, hello?
We are with you.
So I want you to just tell us, special court is it hosting for this corruption issue? Because you have done that. Because I'm telling you, if you are not judging this cases by EFCC, it could have reached the next 2 years. One. And I want you to know that olden days, 80s, when we are young, when we are younger than this, when we see a judge's house, we used to come in front of judge's house, I used to be one of them that used to be judge. So when that time, this time around, the lawyers doesn't used to be what they used to be because of what happened. They sanction some lawyers and they record them back. Without the judge, just enough take his own part. And I want us to know, and I want you to believe that what Nigeria is done today because the foundation is bent. You shouldn't say everybody is corrupt. Really, everybody is corrupt. But there is some people that we are looking up to that will make us not to do it. Because if my children is doing other things that is not supposed to do, my dear, I'm not doing that. Definitely, they will fear me. But if they are doing what I'm doing, they will not think of it. Because when they say that if a man that his father support of stealing, he used to take legs to them. I want you to understand that those people on top today, that they are people that make the corruption to stay. Even they are fighting corruption. Have a nice day.
Thank you very much.
Hello.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Now, good morning. My name is Aghemerio. Tobi, I'm calling from Aghemerio. I only want to ask you a question, two questions, because we have said it all. Is it only by stealing that we can call corruption?
Is it only by?
Is it only stealing?
Okay.
When you steal money that you can call it corruption? In our action, now talking, is it not part of corruption? That's number one. Number two, I want to agree with the body that said the judiciary is part of is the most corrupted. The law, sir, why do you still go to court and defend the criminal when you know this person is a criminal? Why do you still defend him? For instance, look, Evans. A lawyer was still defending Evans because they opened something. A lawyer was still defending the man. And corruption. That is my question. Thank you. Good morning.
Good morning. Okay.
Yes.
I think let me start with the last caller. Why do I, as a lawyer? Now, there was an incident that happened one time. I think that was in the 60s or thereabouts. You see, a lawyer was traveling to a court, and somewhere along the line, the driver killed a villager. Now, the driver killed the villager, ran away. Now, the lawyer came out to help the fellow, but then the villagers came out, killed the lawyer. When the matter went to court, no lawyer agreed to appear for the accused murderer. You know what happened? The court said, well, this is a murder trial, and if he's not defended by a lawyer, there's nothing we can do. We can't convict. That's the problem. That is number one. And number two, now, if I, as Patrick Iwu, appear for Evans, the notorious kidnapper, tomorrow, I'm not saying Evans did not kidnap, and no lawyer is saying that. You see, there's a procedure. You go to court, the thing is, are you guilty or not guilty? And it is the accused that says, I am not guilty. That I am not guilty is not the same thing as saying, I didn't do it. All it means is, you did it, you come and prove it against me. So if somewhere along the line, you are not able to prove his guilt, he goes home a free man. That is that part of the system we are talking about. That if we could have these special tribunals with a different procedure, once you are accused of stealing, the thing is, you stole, you accused of stealing, and there's evidence pointing that you steal. Face that tribunal, go and tell that tribunal you did not steal that money. That is number one. And number two, I want to say this. The judiciary itself has an inbuilt system of self-cleansing. Now, you go to court, two people are, having an issue, they go to court, of course, one will be a winner, one will be a loser. Now, if you do not like that judgment, if you believe that maybe the judge, the trial judge or the trial magistrate was bought with money, fine. The Constitution gives you an avenue of seeking redress. You go on appeal. And secondly, the judiciary itself has the NJC. If you've been in the news today, you see how they've been sanitizing the judiciary itself. If you have your evidence of corruption, evidence, not sitting down and imagining in your bedroom that a judge received a bribe because the judgment didn't favor your own side. If you have that concrete evidence, for goodness sake, send it to NJC. And this is where the judiciary is very different from the police. Police, well, they may have, but then is it functioning? Is it functioning? That's the question. Now, the issue of a tribunal, yes, the Constitution itself makes provision for a court or tribunal, so long as it is established by law and they practice under the rule of law. That is all that is required. You see, the problem we have here is that we are very, very sentimental. Nigeria is a very sentimental country. If Buhari has set up that tribunal now, people will now, they will now remember to what happened to Sam Mbakwe when he was sent to a tribunal. They will now remember what happened to Onabisi Onabanjo when he was sent. I think perhaps, I'm not holding his brief, I'm not his PR man, but I am thinking that's why he's staying clear of those things. Now, on the issue of the Honorable Land, the fear of God, beautiful. But you will agree with me that the church itself is, even in the present day Nigeria, is even part of that problem we are having. First of all, yes, there is no street in this country, or let me say in the west, in the south, you will not see an average of 2-3 churches. We are so religious in this part of the world, but how many of us are worshiping God in truth and in spirit? Even including the pastor. How many of us? You go to churches today, you see somebody, I will go to a church, I will pay a tithe of 10 million naira. And the church, the pastor will never stop for a moment to ask me, Iwu, where did you get the money that enables you to pay tithe of 10 million? Nobody will say that. In fact, the whole congregation will start clapping. You see, that's a problem. If I'm in such a church, why would I not want to do my own? In fact, I've been in a church where somebody comes to and thanking God for on a successful trip carrying drug in a church. So you now discover that even the churches, I'm saying this because I'm a Christian, the churches are part of our problem. You go to a church will tell you, come and harvest. Come and pay tithe. Fine, okay, it's in Micah. Good. Beyond what of the harvest we are doing? What is harvest? You after paying your tithe, you are still expected to come and do harvest. Not only harvest, you do child harvest, you do youth harvest, you do adult harvest, you do a brother harvest, and you do family harvest. In fact, these days you do Chelsea, Arsenal and Man U harvest in churches. You also do I'll go there and I'll do harvest of court. What is all those rubbish all about? Then at the same time, I'm also expected to contribute to church building, contribute to the boss for the church and all this. Is this not part of that corruption? But the problem is we are not speaking out. Nobody is afraid. Well, if you speak out, you're speaking out against an anointed man of God, and the thing is, it continues. That's the problem. Now, this fundamental issue, Mr. Yomi Koi said, are we ready for change? I think that is the problem. Are we ready? If you ask me, I say, no, we are not ready. That is the problem. And that is why the government itself is facing this problem. The people who are an average Nigerian, now make me a minister of the Federal Republic of Nigeria today. I'll tell you, my community will be celebrating. Now, I go home tomorrow and I don't go home with the latest model of whatever car that is in town. I become a failure. Then that my society, are we ready? I think that's the problem.
Okay, let's quickly look at some of the shortcut messages. We have a couple of them. Abdurrashid Ekela from America says, when I said Donald Trump can't rule this country called Nigeria, people thought I didn't speak well. Can't we see right now, instead of Niger Delta to move against their leaders and representatives who have embezzled their shares and bounties, they are celebrating and worshipping them. It is in this country, a president said stealing is not corruption. Now they are all silent. NLC, OPC are very, and others are keeping mute. And we are chasing shadows. Abdurrashid Okela sent in that one. This one says, dear Mr. Iwu, when an agency of government sits on money that is to be transferred to another agency, for which you ultimately suffer, what do you call it in law?
It's corruption.
Language.
It's corruption.
Kayode from Rwanda sent in that one. Fighting corruption is an individual thing. We need to restructure our minds. Let's begin to value honesty, integrity, truth, and fear of God. The Ramushon sent in that one. Ola Olofori Jones says, federal government said they would investigate a Paris refund. Where's the result? Where the governor was spending the money for their own affairs. It is only God that will help us. When will the beautiful ones be born? IK from Info says, corruption have come to stay in Nigeria and nobody can defeat it because the seed that germinates the corruption is so strong and hard to uproot. So Buhari is just beaten around the bush. IK seems to have lost hope totally in the corruption war. Corruption is as old as Nigeria. It can only be reduced but cannot be eradicated because it occurs at every level of the society. That's Bameke from Legal. There are many important ways to eradicate corruption in Nigeria, including that all of us must begin to feel bad and kneel down before God about our collective failures as a nation. Also, let us all abrogate falsehood and embrace truth and righteousness at all times. Also, let us apply and identify with J terms for all covert conspiracies of government. Leaders betray their own people by the reason of having special quotes with a couple of reforms of outdated laws in order to make people in position of public trust to know offhand the reason for accountability. Again, let immunity clause be abolished once and for all. Cardi Olumide sent in that one. Kudos to the lawyer for his submissions this morning. Every set institutions are corrupt in Nigeria. PMB not setting up special court for corrupt cases is reason no one is being punished yet. Major problem is judiciary, who is to checkmate executive, legislative, and indeed all citizens on corruption, termed most corrupt, collaborating with defense lawyers on deliberate adjournment upon adjournments to eternity. If judiciary keeps to decorum, all above will sit right. And they sent in that one. The fight against corruption may be a nightmare in the face of inequality, injustice, abject poverty, poor governance, etc. The anti-graft war is just like scratching the phenomenon on the surface. May God save us. For like Yemi sent in that message. You want to quickly?
Yes, I want to say, and in fact, this is even where this is more like an appeal. This is more like an appeal to the present governor of Ogun State. You see, withholding these deductions, workers' deductions, it's bad. It's corruption itself. Because for one thing, the governor has no such power. Now, even if anybody would want to argue for the purposes of argument that it's not corruption, it is encouraging corruption. A good number of these workers pay over 80, some of them over 80% of their salary into that deductions with the hope of getting loans from their cooperatives. And when these things are not come, what happens? You say you pay salary. Somebody who is only taking 20% of his salary to feed his wife, to pay house rent, he is bound to collect bribe. This the governor has to. If nobody is telling him, he should be told.
Okay.
We got some tweets here too. Avinci, a trip to Ibadan via Omiadio from Abeokuta would show the extent of police corruption. A driver was almost shot last week for refusing to bribe. We know police commissioners who own 4-star hotels and big schools. If we reduce police corruption, Nigeria's corruption will reduce drastically. And that still came from Yemi Da Vinci. Lockdown Okoya also tweeted concerning Evans' case, every suspect has the right to be heard. That is why a lawyer must defend him. Only the court can accuse. Adekunle Kenny tweeted, PDP has failed in curbing corruption. APC cannot afford to toy same line. We need more confiscations of looted funds like that of Dizani. And Dapo Enyolawo tweeted again, every public institution in Nigeria and most private ones are corrupt. Akorede Camille, it's rare to see anyone says he's guilty, even in the face of evidences. Evans has just pleaded guilty to charges before the judge. Oduwole Babatunde tweeted, you've said it all, sir. Barrister, what will be the difference between this special court for corruption and the existing court? Still from Oduwole Babatunde, I hope you've noted the question. 2. Won't it be the existing judges that will still mount this court? How will this court solve the existing problems of corruption? And this one came from Akorede Camille. I agree with the lawyer in the studio. We are very sentimental in this country. We're not ready for any change. Taking more tweets from here. Yemi Da Vinci tweeted, with an incorruptible police force, civil servants, teachers, doctors, etc. will be afraid to demand bribe if you say you report to the police. And Oduwole Babatunde also tweeted, sir, that's the third question from the same person. Can't time be stipulated for the dispensation on justice? Why do cases last years before judgments are made? And moving to Yemi Da Vinci, corruption and lack of electricity is a factor of production in Nigeria. Before you can produce anything, you must factor in corruption. Adekunle Kenny tweeted, I think the NJC is failing in dealing with judges that sentence petty thieves to long jail term and big thieves ridiculous judgment. Akorede Camille tweeted again, what about the accused ritualists that escaped from police custody in Port Harcourt? Is that not corruption? Yemi Da Vinci tweeted again, state governments, media houses and police get owed salaries and allowances, and we think these don't aid corruption. Of course, he sighed. Yemi Da Vinci tweeted, Barrister Patrick, can you please hazard a guess as to why Dizani has not yet been charged to court by EFCC? Okay, hazard a guess.
Yes, hazard a guess. Okay, we want to quickly react.
Let me start with that. Now, this is my guess. The Zion is not in Nigeria now, and under the Nigerian law, you don't charge somebody in absentia. That's my own guess. Yes. Now, maybe to answer the questions now, yes. He said the difference between the special court and the existing, or the difference will be in procedure. You set up this special court, you set up special procedure to follow them. I think that would be the difference. Now, the other can be, yes. Now, you see, this in recent times, there has been these amendments done to or changes done to civil and criminal procedures. Now, these days, when I started practice, all you need to do, you don't like the face of somebody, you just file your writ of summons in court. For over 2 years, you do nothing. But these days, you file your writ of summons, you file your statement of claim, you download all your processes. And there are time limits within which to do those things. So if you do not do those things, you pay penalties. But I want to suggest that apart from paying these penalties to the court, they should also pay the penalties to the other party, because that is the only thing where I think litigants will sit up. Because the mere thought of paying somebody you are fighting, and even if it is 1 naira, they will detest it. But if it is the Kwai, there is no problem. Lawyer, don't worry, it's 100,000. But if it is paid, even that's why it's even very difficult to recover cost. If you are paying 10 naira to the government, you also pay 10 naira to the other party. Everybody will sit up. Now, even this issue of time wasting, it is not the court. It is not most times the lawyers, they are litigants. If I have a bad case, for goodness sake, and I don't have that courage to tell my clients, come, this case is bad, why go waste your time? Then what happens? I will be collecting money from my client. Don't worry, we know how we will do it. You go there, you frustrate. And then the judge, if the judge wants to quicken, then the question is, what is his interest? You see that either way you look at it, there's problem. The whole thing will now come back to the judge. He has a special interest. And all the judge is saying is, fasten your matter. That's the problem.
All right, let's go to
fighting corruption and people within corruption is not something. I mean, the level of corruption in Nigeria is not something you fight within 2 years. On this and one and two is something that all hands must be on deck. Even it's not a war that we should allow Buhari alone to fight. It's a war that all Nigerians, when I mean all Nigerians. If you see these things happening and that fellow being a victim cannot do something to help, report, follow it up, things will be done.
All right, let's take a few calls before we call it from Madam Aminu Kano. I think that was erroneously credited to Otumba Rotimi Bashir.
Whoever said that,
the person that called earlier was Chief Tari and your body. We were talking about a drug carrier of Baron giving things. So
yes, Chief. Yes, it's not an exaggeration, and I want you to quote me. I cannot say in public and on air what I don't know. Quote me. Say Patrick Iwu said that. In fact, there has been worse cases than that. Quote me. How many pastors, apart from Tunde Bakare, will ask where did you get this money? Where? Nobody asked that question. It's not an exaggeration, sir. I stand by it.
All right, let's wrap it up with these messages. Barrister, you're indeed a brave lawyer who knows his onions. No person has hit the nail on the head the way you've done this morning in respect of workers' deductions. God bless you. Kalde from Rwanda. Good morning, Barrister and the crew. Corruption is as old as human existence. Fighting corruption is given to Chief Obasanjo for Ijaw people, whereas PMB is returned to opposition because he's yet to prosecute his party members. Corruption will be reduced when job opportunities are available to job seekers. MOK from Ayotoro sent in that one. Yes, corruption cannot be eradicated totally anywhere in the world, but can be reduced to the barest minimum. PMB only president since 1999, fighting corruption with sincerity. Unfortunately, majority of 2 national assemblies, other government officials, citizens are frustrating his efforts, for they are all corrupt. But judiciary is number 1 enemy of Nigerians, frustrating PMB's efforts all this while. Cases won't end till the end of tenures of offenders. That's a day. All right, that's the last message. You'll be able to accommodate this morning. We want to appreciate every one of you who sent messages. those who called, those who tweeted. We appreciate every one of you. Thank you very much, Lawyer,
Thanks for
my
having me.
invitation once again. We appreciate you. That's our show this morning. Thank you so much. Join us again for the Thursday edition. I am Tobi Joseph.
I am Aghemerio. Good morning.